Hey guys, Coach Royce here, coming at you from 2021. Hope everyone had a safe and happy new year. What I have for you today is a video on how to pump up for a bodybuilding show. I recently got this question and the client actually Google searched, how do I pump up for a bodybuilding show? And there was no information out there. So I thought, well, hey, got a lot of information here. Why don't I see if I can put a video together for you guys and see if you guys enjoy it. So here goes. How to pump up for a bodybuilding show. Today we're going to answer these questions. Do I need to pump up? How do I pump up? When do I pump up? What exercises do I do? How many repetitions do I need to do? And what equipment am I going to need? That's a question you want to answer before heading to the show. Okay, so the very first question, do I need to pump up? Yes, you absolutely do need to pump up. It is shocking to me that there are coaches out there that will discourage people from pumping up because that is your one chance to make a dramatic change on your physique before getting on stage. No, that chance is not a week out when you're going to manipulate water and sodium and carbohydrates and try to change the way you look. Yes, you can make small changes that way, but that's not going to make a dramatic change in your physique the way that pumping up will. So yes, you absolutely need to pump up before getting on stage. That's your one shot to make a huge difference in your physique. How do I pump up? Okay, so this question can be interpreted a few different ways, but here's my way of interpreting it. When you step on a bodybuilding stage, you're essentially a silhouette. So the very first thing you want to think about is how your silhouette looks, what weak points you might have, and how you can enhance this silhouette. For example, if a person doesn't have great peaks in their biceps or peaks in their triceps, they should spend some time pumping up their peak of their bicep and tricep before getting on stage to enhance their physique. If a person lacks in shoulder area in their side delts or shoulder caps, they should be doing tons and tons of side laterals before getting on a bodybuilding stage. If a person's lats don't show as well, they should be pumping up their lats before they get on stage. Is this starting to make sense? So the very first thing you want to think about is your silhouette, and then you want to think about your weak points. You should be addressing your silhouette and your weak points with the exercise selection. Moving on. When do I pump up? You want to time your pump up perfectly so that you achieve your pump just seconds before you get on stage to present. Now I know that's really hard to do, and every show is different. They're all very chaotic. And it's very difficult to decipher when you're going to be on stage and how much time out from stage you are and how long people are going to stay on stage, but you've got to do your absolute best at keeping an eye on the stage, what classes are going up before you, and how much time they're going to spend on stage. That's going to be your best chance of putting together a window of time that you can get your pump up and time it perfectly. It's really important. It should take you 15 to 25 minutes or so to get your pump. And you want to time that pump so that you've literally finished, you put down your dumbbells, your band, your line goes up on stage, you're on stage. That's another thing. Typically, if you pump up properly, you should be in the pump up area, pumping up, and then they call you to the line just before you go on stage. You should be continuing to pump up while waiting there so you don't get soft and you don't deflate. Your pump only lasts 15-20 minutes, so you don't want to deflate just before you get on stage. So when do you pump up? You time it perfectly, you pay attention to the classes before you, and you give yourself 15 to 25 minutes to get your pump, and you try and time it exactly so you step on stage immediately following that pump up. What exercises do I do? Well, I've actually put together a list for you guys of Coach Royce's choice exercises prior to getting on stage at a bodybuilding show. Pumping up was always something I did very good at. And here are a list of exercises that I pretty much go to every time. You've got your concentration curl for the bicep peaks. You've got overhead tricep extensions. That's for your tricep peak that stretches the long head of the tricep. A long arm extension is for the lats. You attach a band up high, pull the entire arm down. That's for the lats. Rows, you should always be doing some kind of row in your pump up routine to pump up your back. Backs win shows. I still believe that to this day. Side laterals, again, if you lack in the shoulder department, you should be doing tons and tons of side and rear delt raises before getting on a bodybuilding stage to enhance your shoulder caps. Rear delts, Push-ups are a great go-to if you're limited on equipment backstage. Pull-ups, if you have access to a door jamb or something that you can do a pull-up on, those are good for pumping up. Abs and calves are kind of at your discretion. I've done abs prior to getting on a bodybuilding stage, but to be completely honest with you, as a professional, I feel like my abs are sharper without pumping them up. So after that one show that I did that, I never did it again. So when I coach, I typically don't encourage people to pump up their abs because in my experience, they tend to be a little bit sharper when they're not pumped up. Calves, I think that's going to depend on if it's a weak point of yours. If it's a weak point of yours, I would suggest getting a little bit of blood in there so that you can feel them contracting better when you're on stage. That would be my 2 cents on calves. Legs. You don't ever pump up your legs before getting on a bodybuilding stage. And the reason is our entire body looks better when we pump up except our legs. When our legs get engorged with blood, we actually lose striations and we lose separation and definition in the legs. So your pre-show routine, first of all, you shouldn't be training legs very close to the show. You want them to be completely healed. My rule of thumb is 7 to 10 days out, you take your last leg training day. But this is pump up. You're never going to pump up your legs. Don't ever pump up your legs. So there's that. And again, here's your list of exercises. Coach Royce's go-tos for pumping up backstage. Moving on, how many repetitions do you need to do? Well, you need to do as many as you need to do to get blood in the muscle. And typically backstage, you're going to have access to dumbbells and bands, and you're probably going to have to do a lot of reps, like 15 to 25 per set. So the answer to the question, how many repetitions do I do? There isn't really an answer. It's really just about getting blood in the muscle. You just need to do as many as you need to do. And again, it's probably going to be higher reps. What equipment do I need? So before going to each show, you should think ahead and try and be prepared with this list of exercises in your head of what you're planning to do backstage. That, for the most part, that shouldn't change a lot. There shouldn't be a lot of movement in your pre-show routine because you should know what your weak points are. You should know what areas of your physique need to be enhanced before getting on stage. So you should already have in your head a mental list of the exercises you're going to do and what equipment you're going to need. Just going to throw you guys out an example. My pre-show routine, I did push-ups, I did concentration curls, overhead tricep extensions, dips, long arm extensions, band rows, and I would create a giant circuit so as not to pump up one body part and not pump up another and then have one deflate later on. I want them all to get pumped up at the same time, maintain their pump while I'm on stage all the way until I get off stage. So what I would do is create a big circuit, 5, 6, maybe even 7 exercises, and I cycle through them. I do 15 to 25 reps. That just happens to work for me. At every station, I go through each station, and I would go through 4 or 5 times in my pump-up routine in a matter of 15 to 25 minutes. So that's just an example. So you guys should know ahead of time, what are your weak points? What areas of your physique do you need to enhance? So that will give you your exercise selection, and then you'll know what you need for equipment. But a general rule of thumb for equipment is you need to bring a band, a strong band, like a red half-inch band, and a pair of dumbbells. You can probably get by with 12s or 15s. There's a lot you can do with those. You can make concentration curls work with them. You can make side laterals work with them. You can do any kind of raise. For heavy rows, just hope that you have a place to do pull-ups and a door jamb or something. For rows, you can really crank on the band for band tension and do band tension rows. But that's pretty much it, guys. I hope that list helps you guys. I hope this instruction, this guidance is helpful to you. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. No, that covered all the questions. So, do you need to pump up? Yes, you need to pump up. What do you need to pump up? You need to think about your weak points and go for those first. What equipment am I going to need? You're probably going to need a band and some light dumbbells. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you appreciated it. We'll talk to you soon.